Good evening, everyone. How's everything going tonight? Okay. I think we left off last night with the rocket launch. We've got white signs going. We've got FTLA halfway there. I believe we are still trying to get more and more circuits running down here. We just keep hitting other bottlenecks. We look, got red circuits going good. So we left off with a gold issue on blue circuits. And we're also having an iron ore issue, but that should be fine from what we got going on over here. Pulling ore from elsewhere, it'll be fine. We're just going to wander around, we're going to do some checks on stuff, and then we're going to work on that gold. We're getting close on power, that's a little concerning. We did have the problems with our reactor setup that we're going to need to address at some point. But I feel like the answer is just going to be more beans, so let's go add some more beans right now. We're going to put a few of the newer design down, and then we're going to put a few older ones. This was the really old design. This was upgraded for the right kind of belts and everything. And then we have this one, which was overclocked and should produce a ton more power. I'm going to try and... Yeah, we can fit it. Okay. Let's place it up here. We're going to have to do a little bit of extra pipe work here. Probably should have increased our buffer of these being built. I'm going to do that now. I'll get this up and running again. And we need to increase our nitinol pipes, slowing that down. See how that science is doing. We'll get another bean farm up. It's doing. Not the fastest, and we're going to have to change it around at some point, but good enough for right now. We can definitely get some more up. More beans, more power. So many more speed modules, but it'll be worth it in the end. Okay, so we need more washing plants to stockpile. We can do that. Seems weird that there's that much in logistics storage, but it's not filling this. Yo, what's going on with you? Oh, there's a buffer chest of it somewhere. What? Oh, because we were trying to fix this, but still make it available to the network. Okay, that makes sense. It's prioritizing this buffer versus the other one. And we'll rework this. How many slots is this? 48? There we go. That's fine. Don't need to do that anymore. And we just turn that into a balancer. Everything's fine. This iron ore issue is a little concerning, but we should be fine for a bit. Though what is this again? Sapphire shortage here again. This just can't keep up with the demand anymore. It's weird. Parts of it are moving fast enough, as fast as we can. And there's other parts that are trickling their sludge. Yet everything's the same. The design was flawed. It is what it is. It's moving how it is. Not an issue of the sulfuric weight. also not a issue of gases. That's all running fine. Nothing's capping out too crazily. Was it an issue of just not enough water coming down the lines? Huh. That is interesting. There's not enough water. And it's not keeping up the purified up here, which is leading to issues here. Okay. That's extremely interesting, and that's why I put that there. Just trying to get more water down the line. It's not an issue of water here, it's getting it down the pipes, which is the issue. Make a quick little fix here. Using copper pipes still, just for consistency here. That's what we want. We want it to be saturated there, purified, and that should help. It's something. This whole thing's flawed. I need to replace it. Just somehow get more of this up here. I should be able to get a little more going up here. Go design, place more stuff down here. Power's doing a bit better. We're slowly getting our concrete out everywhere in weird little patterns. Okay, so I want to just create like 2 of these. We'll do one. We'll do one down here. And just have it do its thing. Can't possibly keep up enough power for this, can it? Yeah, it's losing power during the day. It's even day. I don't even know if it's day right now. It's night. Let's try and get some more land down here. more logistics down here anyway. Okay, that's that. Okay, this is almost ready to go. We just gotta build it up there. While my bots build everything. Start paving everywhere, so they're slowly catching up on that as there's concrete available. Kind of messed up on. Shouldn't have done as much as I did. So they're going to be doing that for the next few hours, days, months. I don't know anymore. I'll work on getting more production of that at some point. That's eating up all my steel as well. But at least we have progress. Everything we do is progress. The extra science research is probably not helping our power. Yeah, that's not helping at all. Let's get a line running back here for that. So this is basically doing nothing for some reason. was doing a lot more at one point. It's probably in one of those slow down failure states, like everything else has been lately. No, that's doing good. That's doing fine. It's just the speed that it's going at. Okay. Only I had the modules things. It would be running so much faster. Okay, so I'm gonna have to have it go up here. Okay. We can do this. Seems like a good spot to just hook it in up here. Right after the crushing. Okay, we're going there. Okay, as the bots fill that in, this will start helping supply a little bit more. Okay, what's this all doing? Yeah, we're just stuck waiting on, black circuits that are waiting on blue circuits. A few other little issues here and there that aren't too major. We fixed our wire issue. Everything is moving. Good. We're actually slowly getting all the modules out into this too, as it distributes everywhere. We'll get a few more modules out everywhere, directly placing. Make sure those two new farms are doing what they need to. Are moving as fast as they can without modules. Good. Keep putting ourselves deeper in the module hole. Is what it is, though. It'll all start to clear up soon. I apologize. I'm having a little bit of a late dinner, so I'm going to be eating that while we are doing this. Really should make a new design for this. At this point, anything that I do that's going to do the same as this, it's just going to be a mess in and of itself as well. This is even capped out as it is. Okay, we've got nothing coming up this belt yet. That would be why. It's that little bit of extra that'll help up there. Let's go follow it up and just make sure everything's doing what it needs to. Otherwise, we gotta adjust that belt. Because it should help, and then it'll just buffer up here if we ever actually get through all of it. Yep, get home. New water bottle. Uh, so how did everybody's weekend go? Anybody do anything interesting? Gonna back that up until that runs out. Okay, working as intended. Yeah, that's just way too little for what it should be doing. Something's wrong down there. Something broke with that one resource. The drive light? Something's going on with that. We gotta take a look at it. Okay, let's trace back where it's going slowest. Not a sulfuric issue. Mineralized water is doing its thing. It's getting vented. That's doing its thing. It's not being held up. We've done a purified. We just have slag slurry issue. Because there's not enough slag for some reason. Another, if we can get more slag running down the line, it'll go faster. Why is that all that we have running down the line? There should be more. Hey, friend called 5, how are you doing? I've actually been playing Zomboid, but Factorio is always interesting. Most of my weekend was consumed by Project Zomboid on a community server. Yeah, it's just busted until I get more. It's weird that this one's running slow. This one's got a lot more throughput for some reason. Yet they are exactly the same in design. It's all producing. Probably just a module issue somewhere. Yeah, I built a computer, what was it, about 3 months ago at this point. Down below the video here, you should see the computer stats. And I am running everything off that. And we only had some issues last stream with UPS when I was pasting giant things of reinforced concrete everywhere. Right, we can get some more productivity modules right here, that'll help. I've built old AMDs, and then I swapped to Intel and never went back. I did not like the heat issues at the time. Right, so it's just pulling a ton of them out that way too, and this is just sitting here. Get it on the line as well. Oh, and for anybody else watching, a friend called 5 does also stream Factorio. See if this pulls anything. I know you were playing Seablock, but I think you burnt out on that like everybody else has. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody needs a break from Seablock. Yep, I did that multiple times over like the past 4 years. Blue chips are a mess, and I'm stuck at about blue chips and black chips right now. That's my main issues that I'm fixing here. So if we come up over here, we've got my bus that feeds all my circuits. Starting with some basics, green circuits, red circuits, and it's all in these little modules, and it sends more down a belt and loops it around. And then we have blue circuits, which were actually filled on all the resources again. Amazing. And then we've got these little modules in here that are doing black circuits. And we have the red circuit line that just keeps going and going, and then it hits a wall. So I have to completely redesign these again. But I need enough black circuits going to fix all my module issues so that I can make faster things that use modules to make more resources to make more modules. There's a never-ending cycle right now, and I've been stuck in it forever. If you look by the alerts here, right next to me. It's so many. There are so many modules. We have our rockets. We need one more to move on to the next phase of the end game. My train ran out of fuel again. Right, I put carbon in it. That burns up fast. course, we fixed that, and now it's the issue. Okay, so we need more jive light on this line. It's honestly coming up here pretty good. I think we just need this line moving a little faster. Yeah, up to this point, we need to get the speed moving faster. Start running into a lot of the same issues that I have everywhere else. Oh, just this old design can't keep up. And that's the wrong. I want to destroy them. Upgrades, not destroy. I can say I've played through the initial bits of Seablock up to geodes about 7 different times. Each time I got up to geodes, I just couldn't figure it out anymore. Stopped playing it for a few months, then went back to it, couldn't remember what was going on, restarted. And then I started streaming it, and I have kept on this for the past 6 months, when my ISP has been allowing me to stream, which has thankfully been mostly fixed. I need to add a little more onto this belt. We're going to go down here. We're going to build another new design somewhere and run it up. Of course, that's way too far down. And I have brought blueprints from older designs that I had, which helped me in the early game. This is actually one of them that just kind of stuck around forever. A lot of these were created ages ago. Really old power block design. It's not perfect. It runs itself out if you start running up towards about 80% power. And that's because of some changes that happened since it was made. But yeah, I had that, which we've upgraded and kind of kept it running for a while. And ads are starting. But this was one of my really first big designs that I did. Gets all 6 of the base amounts just for that starting amount. Oh yeah, that's the gosh darn it water mod that I've been using forever. It allows me to flip the recipe so everything looks nice and stays the same. And to be fair, I took this design off of online somewhere for charcoal. Even the bean design I think I grabbed from somewhere ages ago. Yeah, looks like I'm gonna have to do the drive light down here. Welcome back. Not sure if you caught one of the last ones I showed there, but as I said, this design that I have for charcoal everywhere that I've upgraded the buildings just to get more speed out of it, I've copied it from somewhere ages ago. And as I said, even this bean design I think I grabbed from forever ago elsewhere. And yeah, once you get bots, it becomes so much easier to make the blueprints and just place everything down instead of hand building the blueprints. So I think they put in a mouse over mod in the default Seablock pack now. So as long as you're next to a bunch of blueprints that you can place, there's a key button you hold and it'll just auto place the building so you don't have to go crazy clicking and Q left click, Q left click. While that builds, figure out where this belt's going. One of the other things I actually started with was Tiny Start mod I added in. It gives you a very weak modular armor that's equivalent to like light armor and a little bit of bots to start off. Like, it gives you this tiny fusion reactor. It's barely any power, but it's something to start off with the bots, so you're not going too crazy, but it's not full logistics right off the bat. The list of mods that I have added in, GDIW is gosh darn it water. It's all little bits of quality of life. Being able to trace a belt or trace a pipe so that you can debug stuff, as well as the blueprint lab for having a little creative area to work on stuff. Yep, rate calc is great. Oh, I put that built the wrong way. Was what was the last one that I had? Like a K6, but I think it was like a generation or two after that. Oh no, I had an Athlon X2. That's what I had. I had one of their first, basically dual core processors, and I think the heat was manageable for those, but the next generation after had a lot of heat issues. They ages because of Twitch, but I can say I owned an original Game Boy when it came out, if that helps. Even an NES around the time that it came out. Oh, one of the other blueprint books that I have, it's somewhere online. You can find this belt balancer blueprint book, and it's designed for vanilla but works perfectly fine in just about any other mod pack. It has, for every type, any kind of conversion you need to go from one belt to another and keep it all balanced. Up to about 8, and then it's got some crazier ones at the bottom here. Like if you really need to balance out 32 belts to 32, it has it. Yeah, that is some mega builds that I have seen other people doing. That's me safeguarding these designs a little bit from a problem that they have when they don't have all their modules in them. This stuff was designed to run with a full set of modules, and I'm nowhere near providing them. Yeah, I've noticed from the older computer that I had, which was a Gen 6 Intel. A lot of Factorio is the CPU. It's just the processing of everything that it's got to do. It cannot keep up once you start doing too much. Yeah, when you get into some stuff, it probably starts hitting some weird things with the RAM as well, this game. It's all compute. The graphics isn't too much of it, because you can kill out a lot of the settings for that. I mean, I just built a computer for the budget that I had, and this has been running fine, even in this crazy, crazy sized world. With way too many bots everywhere. What am I even running at with bots at this point? Almost 4,000 logistics and 3,000 construction. Why is this stopped working? It's again, something keeps breaking with these. Oh, it's another one of these that I probably didn't fix something with this whole mess. It's all fine. What broke over here? The geodes aren't getting processed properly. That's because... Oh, the other issue that I found with this design. I apparently needed to put a sulfuric waste overflow in to keep everything running. But it's another one of those things, if everything had the modules in it, it runs fine for hours. I tested it. I literally left it running overnight with these designs to see if they would clog up. And they don't when they're filled with modules and everything's running at the right ratios everywhere. But something with the design, when it's not at full speed, everything keeps breaking. And I don't want to redesign this stuff to not use modules because I will go insane. But that gets everything here moving again slowly. Let's see, this is moving. This is doing its thing. Yeah, and it's also my fault. I'm not using trains, as you've noticed. There was the one train, and that was for the milestone. And I've been designing everything with these closed loops. So like they make their own charcoal. They pull from the water and everything loops. Everything needs like a little bit of a priming for filters and sulfur, but it's a sulfur positive loop. One of the biggest issues I had initially with this was it would run for about 30 minutes and run out of sulfur, and I couldn't figure out why. It was an issue of the purified water was spiking too much, filling up the line, which was backing up the sulfuric water processing, which the sulfur wastewater was building up and then overflowing. It should never actually overflow in this design. Or if it does, it's very, very minor once the whole thing's running full speed. So it was turning into a sulfur negative loop, and eventually would just run itself out of sulfur. The fix for it was using these little tanks in line everywhere just to give a little more purified water buffer. And it fixed that issue. And that's because it was hitting weird rate limits of everything. Just the pipe flow code is terrible. But now we got a little more driver light going up there. The puffers. I haven't actually used something with a major amount of puffers, but I do have them breeding constantly. That is somewhere up over here. Yep, here we go. So I've got it breeding each kind, and they're available in the network if I need them. I got puffer eggs, and then we've got actual puffers up here if I need them for anything. It's extremely slow, but we have a supply, and the main thing it was for these shell remains, because they're needed elsewhere. Because you have to make these eggshell seeds. Thank you. And that was going into what was originally there was the original module 0 and 1 design that I had over here. And I tore down half of it because I don't need it anymore. And we have the biters, which I set up into a nice encased loop. It just produces the crystal shards. And it's the small, medium, and large. It's completely designed to never run itself out of anything. There's a lot of craziness in the way everything loops around. And it's all supplied off of these fish that also keep themselves running with a literal sushi belt. Oh, I can say this. I thought I was building big. To anybody that is playing this and learning and going off of anything that I've done, build bigger than I did. Because a lot of these designs were good to start, but now I've been hitting issues where something that I took 2 hours to design is not worth it anymore for the speed that it produces at, and I have to spend another 2 hours redesigning it. Much like I made these nice little things here for my initial lines where it was taking the old ores, chunks, turning it into crystals. And I ran into issues where I thought this will be good enough. As we can see, it was not. I built myself into a hole everywhere because I don't have enough room to expand it out. I was even like, okay, I'll give myself extra space in other areas when I redesigned it, like over here. I created a lot of extra space. There wasn't enough in it to do anything in these spaces, and it just became belts. Like my iron, I had to double it up over here because I actually had space. His videos are good for a good idea. Like, there's some good ideas that he has, but trying to copy how he did, that's his way of doing it, and it's going to be hard for some people. I couldn't fully do it, but some of the talking about what he did helped me out. Because I think it was when his second video for that came out, I was actually at about the same points in some stuff that he was doing. I was also further ahead, because different parts of this you can progress at different times. And when he got up to doing modules, there was the problem that he was saying with the crystals in it, where you have these 3 different types of crystals as well as the crystal powder. You run into an issue where if one type of module is getting produced more than the others, you can have a line back up. As we can see here, I have the 3, but the red, it's being used more than the other 2. And perfect example is it produces, and the excess red, the excess green and blue go off this way. It's with a little bit of logic, sends it all off into this, and this crushes it down into this powder, keeping a little extra in the system, and then voids the rest by turning it into crystal slurry. And that's done on each stage of these crystals here. It is a very simple, just a little buffer chest. So when they start building up, it fills that up, and then it turns off and turns on the waistline side of it. And that was because the same way that he did it, I didn't copy his design, but the explanation of it I was able to use and came up with this. Because otherwise you are just dealing, like my older design that I've since torn down, would have issues of trying to store enough of everything. And much like my circuit design, I took the same idea of having a bus along the side of every material that was needed and piping it in, because each tier uses the same materials, just for different colors. It's also good at a glance to see which things I'm missing and where it's running out. Like we have this one belt here, that's my black circuits. We're not producing enough of them, and that's where everything's slowing down from. I then also have all the other little intermediaries getting produced here. Some of them are getting their full production chains placed down here. Like we've got some extra plastic. What are these? The phenolic boards. It's all a mess. That was me basically using a bunch of designs that kind of produced enough that I had elsewhere and just worked them into this. I'm also heavily reliant on bots because I'm moving things around. Once again, a little bit from Dasha's ideas of I move around the coils and uncoil them at the destination, so you're moving less coils than plates. Which means the bots are able to effectively carry more materials down the line. So I think we're gonna run back to check on science up top here. So we are now 65% of the way through FTLA. It's one of the late game techs in this that you need to create the FTL drive, which is your last thing to get off this planet. And it requires 7 different techs to unlock the FTL drive. Each one is 200k of each type of science incrementally. So this is just 200k red, and then it's 200k red and green. It just keeps getting worse. The white science part of it is going to be the hardest one to do, but by that point I should be able to consistently launch rockets. So right now my rocket launches are being also limited by black circuits. Okay, so now we're actually burning through what we have here. We're not going to be producing enough red. Which is a little weird. These should be producing about the same. Oh, right. When they have all of their modules in them. So I'm probably going to have to get something in this to produce more red circuits at some point. I haven't worked on increased science costs here and production for any of the other ones yet, because I haven't even hit the green science one. And at this point we have taken out just about every other tech, and I'm stockpiled a decent amount on everything to where I don't need it right now for basic research. Let's see how our rocket's doing. 76. Again, the RCUs, they use the black circuits. Hi, Smorsy, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Doing good. I've just been running around the base right now, seeing what's been running out different places. Looks like I was having a problem with something up here because this belt's empty. Right, something with this design keeps breaking up here. Oh, it's that. Making a mess. Okay. Okay, friend. Take care. Have a good night. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use this as a top up, and we're going to use something to eat up the mud whenever it backs up like this. Because this design was not the best thought out. So, Smorthy, how are you doing? Do you play Factorio? Do you just watch people? If you play, what mod packs have you played, or do you just do vanilla? It's still having problems. Overflow and bend it off like that. Okay, that should get everything running again here. Not that it was needed, because everything's mostly in use down here. But better to have it actually doing what it's supposed to. Alright, let's see what's running low now over here. Ferric chloride's fine. And our blue circuits are actually producing fine. We should be able to add in another one or two of these. See how black circuits are doing. Not running low on anything there. Got enough of those. What it actually looks like is chrome. Chrome is our problem. Okay, chrome is the limiting factor, which means we are going to have to design something to fix that. Getting that second one up and running probably is not keeping up enough. It might still be spinning itself up. It's not keeping up. So we need to disconnect this and rework a design that doesn't have platinum as well. Alright. So what I am going to do real quick here is go on a quick little 5-minute break. And then we're going to go and start that. I'll be back 5 minutes. Take care. Okay, back. And of course, as soon as I sat down, something's in my eye. Okay, so we need to work on Chrome. See if I had any designs for that. Oh, I do. It's using modules, so I'm gonna make something without modules. Or at least very minimal productivity modules. So let's get foreman up. Okay, so this was a mess. This is a mess that I designed, but we're gonna make a better mess. So I think what we're gonna try to do here is just a simple blue belt's worth, like I've been doing stuff just for the output. So it's gonna be, what's that, 45? And then we see how far the rabbit hole goes for this. Thankfully, it doesn't look like it's gonna be too bad looking at that. I have a design that I can use for the coolant. I don't have to design that out here. We're just gonna copy the thing that I have. I think we're gonna go for efficiency of the beginning materials because everything, I'm not gonna design this with my crazy loops for all the different ore types. We're gonna just bot those in and hope for the best. So we want to go for efficiency through this whole thing. So we have this weird setup. Ships a bunch of chrome oxide into chrome ingots, but loops itself around. Means we do have to use this. Yeah, it's not going to use anything extra if I do it like that, so we don't need that loop. Set that for carbon. I know we're going to be using the sodium carbonate. It's going to be used in little bits of this, so we need to go back through and figure this loop out. Because at that point, we now have a common ancestor in these. Looking at something like this, we've got 12.4 ore. If I was to instead just like that, it's almost double the ore. And all the other materials here and there are perfectly fine. We'll figure that out and loop everything around. This definitely needs more sodium carbonate than what's up here. Definitely showing me that we can use the sodium sulfate to help with that. As well as we loop that back so we know how much we actually need here. And we use that, we get that, and we see that this is a perfect loop. So we're just going to need to put a bunch of sodium in to get the loop going, and it'll keep the sodium flowing around. Sulfur, on the other hand, I think we're going to need a little more into this section. Let's see, we've also got carbon monoxide that we can use to get the carbon dioxide. So we have this water gas shift design. Which has a little bit extra. Just putting the infinite source there while we figure this all out, not break the math. So fix this. We need to put a vent there on the monoxide. We've got this sulfuric acid here. Ah, and that's also an enclosed loop. So we just need enough sulfur and sodium, or we can just grab a sodium sulfate to fill and prime the loop. It's just a weird little loop of resources going around over here. I know I looked at this a while ago off stream, but it's fun learning it again right now. And it's very dirty. Don't like how it looks here. Good news is we're not too crazy on the amount of buildings, and I can actually fit some modules into this without it being too crazy. Yeah, so we just have the chrome oxide. It's going to do a loop on itself here, which is fine. We have to prioritize the output back in. We'll probably fit the two buildings in when doing that. I kind of want to avoid doing double buildings everywhere, but we'll see once we get this fully lined up. Okay, so we need a bunch of oxygen. Still also have to get the chrome ore itself, which is going to be a problem. Though I could take also some of the ore from my current designs. Let me see something. When I can find where that design is again. How much ore is this actually producing? Oh, this thing is doing nothing. This current design that I have, that giant thing, is making like 2 ore a second. Oh my god, this song. I need to remove it from the playlist. Why does it have to be so loud? Go with this. I like this one. Okay, so back to Chrome design. Yeah, it's easier to just rebuild this, work from here. So, crazy mess here. Crazy looping mess. That's fine. I could take the extra. It's purified water. What is this? 1908. Wait, that's output anyway. If I can't find a use for that, we're just gonna vent it. We're just gonna do a nitrogen separation. boiler here for the bit of steam we need. And let's see what we can actually do about this coolant. We can make a little simpler design here. So that base mineral oil is the funky bit. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a simple thing to do while we're going to have ads come up. You're not going to miss much. We're going to be working on this probably for a while. Okay, so these are outputting a ton of steam. Right, we're going to need a proper vent for this. So what we'll do is we'll just put it as the purified water. Convert it all and vent it. Which kick the system on anyway. Since this is only going to start up once we start getting used coolant. So our problem is going to be this coolant line in that actually starts filling it up. Just trying to do anything else here. Is a bunch of machines. Oh, to be fair, that is a smaller amount of machines. Which means we don't have to create the entire thing for the base mineral oil. Which is not fun in any way that you look at it. Oh, no, 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 no. So let's get rid of that. And we can do it like that. That's fine. So we can actually line it up one machine to each of the assembling machines. Okay. We're getting somewhere. So I think our only issues right now are carbon and the chrome ore, which is going to be a mess. Yep. And the biggest thing is that we put a little bit of sulfur, a little bit of sodium into this, and fill up the loop. I really want to put modules into this. Could use module 2s instead of trying to use module 3s, because those are in high demand elsewhere. Yeah, we could do that to kind of keep everything at one machine up to a point. Yeah, that's simple enough. We can supply these. We can do module zeros like that. So we have an unending supply of those. Let's make sure that's actually getting stockpiled, because I think I disabled some of those stockpiles. Let's go run over there real quick. Oh, we tapped in just in time to catch a milestone for our optimized biome planners. I think that's the last amount of those that we need. 331 hours. Let's help this along with a few different things. Why are we down here waiting for these? I don't want to see problems down here. Okay, okay. I think we're back. Little bit of a hiccup there. Sometimes get those like 30, 40 seconds, just Twitch stops working. Whatever reason, something with my ISP. But I'll take the smaller little issues like that than the consistent 20 hours of 20% packet loss we were getting. Thankfully, that only happened once in a blue moon. I think we didn't actually have any last time. And of course, I had to say stuff earlier about my internet being fine. That's what happens. What can I do? It is what it is. Okay, so we were making sure that we had, was it both zeros actually going in? Which we do, so we can actually use those. Yeah, we can use all of them. Okay. Go back to this. Like, I could do that, but we're just going to match these up anyway. Don't really have to reduce these. Some of these ones that are like 1.1 will fix. And chemical plants and liquefiers, we don't care about lowering their tier. Okay, so we got to do that little thing to keep it down to 1. Do that to keep right at 2. We just can't use any module 3s in this design. Or at least a very, very minimal, like our productivities all the way up here. Okay, so carbon, we need to actually set that up. But we're going to go back through Chrome and then set that up. So let's get the Chrome ore going, which is only through this mix sorting. Now, the interesting thing about this, the cobalt, the iron ore, the manganese, and the nickel can all be used to make, I believe it's iron and steel, or just iron. So we can have an output of iron into the logistics network from this, as well as just the bit of chrome that we need. That was at 12 at one point, and now it's at more for some reason. Because of this, the changes I put on that. The difference changed the loop around number, and then made me require more ore because it's getting more through that side. No? Weird. Ah, is what it is. So this is where we start running into silliness because of the amount of productivity modules versus other stuff. So if I was to try and beacon this with 2s, even just 1 on all of them to cut the number of these in half means it's half the number of productivity modules. And less of a footprint of giant ore sorting facilities. So let's set up our ratios here for all of our extra ores to get them used up. Yeah, it is steel because there's our nickel, there's our cobalt. And this we want to do as basic as we can. Otherwise the ratios start getting a little too crazy. This is where we're going to do stuff a little bit off because we want some extra to actually get used up to use up the manganese. So, I mean, we could just turn it all into steel, but I think we want to do a mix of iron and steel. And that's how we do it. There is that. So we can always go through that instead. We'd have to increase our iron processing. That's not worth it. We'll just deal with that. Another one of those issues where we just go with brute forcing it out without doing a coolant loop. We're not really worried about the efficiency differences on that. We just want to get this out. We want to get it sorted. We don't want any loss. Honestly, I don't even need these. We can just leave it as coils. And we'll send it all off into the network like that. Nice and mostly simple because of everything that's needed here. So can do just charcoal everywhere here. Gonna need a little bit of carbon. Again, we put an infinite source just while we're making all the connections here. We have a little bit more carbon monoxide that we're not gonna mess with over here. Yeah, there's no sense in that. It's not enough, and we'll just produce it on our own. Same with this, we'll just create stuff over here to do it. Because that is about as much as what was being used over here. I still hate every little bit of this, but we'll make do. Because the carbon, well, carbon's simple to make. Okay, now to break this infinite. So it calculates what we need down here. So the charcoal is going to be one of the crazier parts of this. That and everything that's going to come from this, making these ferrous crystals. I hate it. But we get a little bit of iron and we get a little steel made through all this stuff. And that's probably what it was intended to do. So, charcoal. Do we want to even figure that out yet? Or let's go back to ferrous crystals first. We're going to need 2 belts to keep up enough. Okay. What a mess. This is all a mess. I hate every little bit of this. This is going to be a giant machine mess. We're going to try and condense it down a bit. have so many problems with how many machines there are versus what modules I can use. But we'll do that after we get all the loops and everything sorted. There's always this problem. There's the ferric chloride. And it's going to need some iron ore. I don't know if you can safely get that from this loop. It's going to need about 8 a second. And if I was to, instead of doing this one, make pellets, $7.86. It's not enough. We actually have to bot it in anyway. This has its own problems with the limestone. May as well just do it like that. To be fair, limestone's not too hard to add into that. I could put that in. We do want to deal with the ore efficiency. Oh, it was there I was grabbing the number. Oh, it might actually be enough. It's too much. How do I fix that? So pull it out like that, and it would still not be enough over here. Okay, enough trying with that. It's not enough. I may as well just bot it in anyway. No, I think we're going to need more elsewhere. I don't even know anymore. I'll come back and rework this if I need to later. I knew this was going to take forever. Okay, let's start working our way down the concentrate and other stuff. We'll come back through and deal with any of the other bits after. Things like this. I'm just going to belt it in. I have an area of a belt I can steal these from. Otherwise, it's going to be impossible to do this. I can't even design something for those. It's going to go too crazy. At this point, I'm almost tempted to just take my other design and just roll with it, because everything here is a little crazy. Let me see how bad this was. Yeah, 'cause this was using module 3s everywhere and beacons. I hate it. I actually found a different ratios to do things in, though. We did figure out how to do the iron ore. Right. Oh. This design is doing mostly, yep, it's doing the same loops. Okay. Kind of. Oh, this was doing it a little differently. I wasn't actually creating the chrome ingots in here. We were just looping it. Why would I do it like that? Does that make sense to not have like a top-up thing? Means I have to pull from my current design a little bit of chrome ingots to get it going. That's weird. This might actually work better though. This was designed, this was going to make about 80 from 20 ore. This way, it's making 45 from 12. So the efficiency is about the same. It's not using that as the initial looping bit. Which makes a little bit of sense, because you'd only need this to prime, really, and then you would just keep using this side to produce. It's really how much these you're taking in versus those bits. Taking a third of it. We're going to talk a bunch of math right now. So that's taking a third, and it's doing half the production, in a sense. So 15 versus 20. So we're 75% production, a third of production. It's a little more efficient, actually, like this. Is that what I'm getting out of that? That's weird. This whole thing's weird. Okay, so if we go back over to this mess, because our other thing has basically devolved into about as bad. And we'll just keep all of the coolant in anyway at this point. Oh, because this was just making iron. That might be why the numbers are different. Right, because you can make iron out of all of these guys. lose a lot of the iron making it like that. Okay. So that's where that funkiness was coming in. It's also weird if I do that. It's messing up something here just to output it. So what did we want to see? We want to see if we hook in currently 20 to 80. And here we'd be doing 20 to 74, so it's less efficient. It seems to be causing a bunch of instabilities and everything back here. Why, I don't know. That's beyond what I need to figure it out. Okay, so once again, this is designed to do the weird looping of everything here. I want to clean up some of these beacons, swap around modules to reduce our costs, though. Otherwise, we're never going to get enough chrome to actually make this work. Now, in theory, as long as this is producing some chrome, it'll catch itself up to the right numbers eventually. I don't like it, though. Too much math. Way too much math. Yeah, we still need that little bit of iron that's got to get imported in from elsewhere for the coolant loop. Because this is my whole normal messy coolant nightmare. But we're going to change it up a bit. I want to get rid of anything that's using beacons. At least lessen beacons, because we really don't need them in this area. We don't need 3. We're going to be having a lot of molten iron running through here. Instead, we don't need that. We're just going to output it as coils and let the rest of our system pick it up like that. And yep, we have everything here set up as the loop. Our little bit of purified overflow that happens here. Something I'm not doing that I was doing in the other one. Oh, the carbon monoxide is going off and doing other stuff. Weird. Could that be limiting? No, and it's not even limiting anything. Weird. Yeah, that's just coming from over here to do that over there. All mostly the same. Okay, so this is about where we were with the other stuff, just dealing with a little bit more. And apparently I was dealing with a lot more and never went through this and fixed modules. So let's start from the top. Let's see if we can cut ourselves down to module 2s on stuff. It's not going to matter how many of these we have unless we wanted to keep it balanced, but we're not even doing that here. We're not even keeping it balanced. Cut down the number with just using some speed module 2s here. Keep it down to 2 buildings using speed 0s. Keep that at 1. Okay. Come back here. Let's go deal with this side and the coolant loop. I really shouldn't deal with coolant for this side. I don't know. That's where most of our coolant's going into, is this mess. I do have some uses for manganese. Or was I doing that? I know you can't see. I'm just running over real quick. So I think that was titanium or cobalt I was using it. that's actually building up on manganese again, which is concerning. That means I've built up a ton of manganese somewhere. Yep, and we're about to back up our old chrome design because of it. Oh no. Problem partially resolved. Okay, so we're just gonna deal with it like that. Let's go back up here. So we'll do it from down here. Really wonder if I can do this with the steel and maybe just have extra manganese. Something with the numbers should allow me to do this, right? I think I didn't want to work too crazy on figuring this stuff out, which is why. Okay, so kill off the connections to that. All that stuff. We're still not making enough steel to match those. I have to do a more efficient conversion over here as well. So we're looking at doing something like that. And we're still having some iron. It's a little too much iron now. We still have a little too much. We need to get down to 40. Oh, okay, not gonna happen. That's why we didn't do this. Because we're overthinking this part. crazy. And now I broke something. There we go. Yeah, it's another one of those setups. We need to get a little bit of iron ore over here to start this loop. Take another quick run around the base while we're take a 2-minute break from this in my head. What other issues we have? We probably have a ton. So yeah, this was my quick fix because the silo was filling up. Need to use more manganese elsewhere. Up to 81% on FTLA. I'm also probably gonna have to do this in 2 parts. We're gonna have to come back to the design of this chrome. It's getting a little too late for me to continue working too much longer. Everything there is going fine. Let's see how our science up here is doing. Yep, we ran out up here. This just can't keep up. That's because of all the beacons that we still need everywhere, the modules. Which is an issue of the amount of chrome that we have. Everything with the circuits is still going good. Mostly. We're starting to have an issue on copper again. Cop? Yeah, that's a problem. Why did copper suddenly stop coppering? You can upgrade these. Let's go look at our copper. Coolant issues again. No, we were supposed to have fixed this. Why? Why? What's going on here? What broke? Too much steam. Why is that just barely doing anything? Oh, that's a fun issue. Why isn't this doing enough? Can you see, chat? I see it. I see it now. Didn't put the recipe on all of them. That should use up the steam properly. In theory, it'll catch up. Or this might not be enough to actually keep up with it. Yep, we'll just add another one up here for now. Good help. It's gonna have to play a little bit of catch up. And then we're stuck over here waiting on all of this. Now we're putting a bunch more coolant into the line than what it used to have. So it's got to work out its own little issues with the topping up. So it'll sort itself out eventually. What a mess. It's all a mess. What I can do is I can just flush out this as well. That'll help catch it up. That way it doesn't have to process all of that. And in theory, as more of the coolant's getting filled out, the main actual cold coolant should sort itself around again. Yeah, it's gonna be a little busted. Shouldn't have as much of an issue going on though. That'll be fine. Still haven't fixed the issue over here of it. What is going on here? Do I need to get this belt moving a little faster? Probably. Looks like it's holding itself up there. That should eventually help. As that comes by and does that. Just keep slowly upgrading these like that. As the power costs are going to skyrocket. At least that's filled itself back up. Though a lot of these issues are probably gonna pop up again once we get Chrome going. This is forever being consuming. I could productivity. I think these powder mixers are actually set up now. Unless I do. I don't think I do. See how many we have to set up. Now we have set up all of them. That's what I'm seeing. So everyone, welcome back from ads. I need to get steel gear wheels into our logistics network. Just a weird thing to not have. But that is what it is. They're being made around here. Yeah, look at that. It's here, it's just not supplied. The logistics storage for these things is pitiful. Oh, I know what to do then. Upgrade the building. Show productivity all in it. Make the materials stretch more. Come on, I should have one of these on the way. There we go, that'll kind of help. Okay, that's doing good. Still having some problems. The coolant lines are actually clear. That's good to see. That's all sorted itself out. We're running on everything again. No hold up from coolant. Okay. So many weird issues down here with stuff. Okay, let's see how this whole thing is doing. Let's see if we can't fix little bits of the loops to not be as busted. We need to reduce the amount of compost coming from these lanes. Yeah, because we've got this little crazy setup here. We actually, that might be the issue, is we want this to be our main filler of compost. If we do that, then this actually just runs and constantly runs out its compost, and this stuff will back up. At least mostly back up. Probably not back up because of this. We need this to be... We want this to actually back up. Technically don't need this anymore. All the composts back up, we actually start building up seeds. We start running into the issues where these ones don't. Okay, so that doesn't change anything. Just put it back to that. Whatever. we have ones like this that are just taking forever. I think that's also because it is a 5% chance for an extra C. They're at least producing. So that's what matters, is that things are constantly producing. If they're not, we're waiting on seeds like this one, where it's worked itself into a stasis accidentally. Try and catch more of them and send them in faster. Those are fine to be paused, because, yep, we're filled on seed. Nexaflax has its own issues. Say, another 5%. And everything up here is having soil issues. How do we get more soil up here? I don't know anymore. Because we need more mud. And where's our mud? Our mud's not over here anymore. Our mud's constantly stuck going up here. Constantly getting used up by this line. I need to get rid of the priority, and we need to let it just bounce between both, and it'll eventually do stuff. Because there's not enough mud. My sanity going away. Music, where'd you go? Music helps keeps me sane. We have whatever this thing's been doing and making a mess. Okay, let's wander around a little more for empty belts. Not stinky belts. Right, this one's still having its problems. Let's just go and put that back in, whatever. So we have that, pulling that out, but what we should also be doing is pulling from this in back to at least one of these. Should be able to do the two. Alright. Let's get a little more steel back into the network. seems to be doing good here now. Our stone brick supply is doing well. Yeah, I think we're gonna come back to Chrome tomorrow. I'm getting a little bit tired here. I'm gonna be able to do a long stream. Let's go find somebody to go raid. Okay, we're gonna go right over to Cyphercat. He is also currently playing Seablock. So, just gonna keep it nice and simple, no raid messages. Be nice, follow his rules. And I'll see you tomorrow where we work on Chrome. Bye bye.